Interpreting histograms. So another type of histograms question that you're going to get is a 4-mark question, or typically 4 marks, where you're given a histogram and a table, and you need to use a table to complete the histogram for part A, and use the histogram to complete the table for part B. So the first thing you need to remember is that on a histogram, the y-axis is frequency density, and the information that you're given is frequency. So you can't use them just straight off from one to the other. You're going to have to fill in a table and do some work. So the first thing you need to do for your table is draw the extra 2 columns on that you need to calculate group width and frequency density. The group width you can work out straight away because you have all of that information. So take the difference between each number. So 0 to 10 will give us 10, 10 to 25 will give us 15, 25 to 30 will give us 5, 30 to 40 will give us 10, and 40 to 70 will give us 30. Okay, so I'm given the information for the first, fourth and fifth bars, so let's work out the frequency density for those. So we divide frequency by group width to give us 16, 10 and 4. Okay, that's as far as I can go on the table. So now let's go back to the histogram. What we need to do now is find either a bar and a line in the table that match each other. So I've highlighted this in pink. You can see that we're given the bar from 0 to 10, and we know that this has a frequency density of 16. This is a really important part because you're going to need to create a scale for your graph in order to get the rest of the information. So let's put 16 at the top. On this particular example, 16, 10 and 4 are quite nice numbers. They come out as whole numbers. Often the frequency density is decimal points, and you have a much smaller scale, like little subparts to your lines. So you need to be quite careful with trying to find what the scale is going to be. That's part of the challenge of the question. Okay, so I know that represents 16, and I have 4 boxes up to 16. So if I divide 16 by 4, that gives me 4, which means I can put on the rest of the chart. Okay, the next thing we need to do now is, now that we have the scale, we can fill in the frequency density for the second and third bars. So I've highlighted this in green and purple. So the second bar will have a frequency density of 4, and the third bar has a frequency density of 8. So now, because the frequency is proportional to the area, we'll need to do frequency density times group width to get the frequency. So the first one, well, as in the second bar has 60 and the third bar has 40. That's a table completed, so that's our first 2 marks. You can just put 60 and 40, you don't have to show the multiplication, but it might be helpful for you to remember what you're doing. Okay, so that's part B done. Then you have to go back to part A. So now we can use the table to complete the histogram. So the fourth bar goes between 30 and 40 and has a frequency density of 10. And the fifth bar goes from 40 to 70 and has a frequency density of 4.